This is an installation video for the parabolic damper onto a Suzuki DRZ400. You will need to install Protaper 7/8 to 1 1/8 handlebar adapters. Part number will be in the description below. Remove the headlight number plate. Loosen the speedometer. You don't need to take the bolts all the way out, just loosen them up so that you have some play and can move the speedometer. Now loosen the steering stem nut, and actually you're going to take the nut all the way off so you can remove the triple clamp. You only need to remove the top triple clamp. So now we're going to loosen the bolts that hold your tubes. Do this on both sides. Once you've loosened the fork tubes, go ahead and tap the bars to lift the triple clamp up off of the forks. Now remove the 6mm bolt from the front of the frame mount. Now install the frame mount. You may need to pry open the front of it to get it up over the frame. The round counterbore goes up, and then you're going to want to get it lined up a little bit, tap it down, make sure it's all the way down. Now add blue Loctite to the 6mm screw that you had just taken out. Then we're going to go ahead and screw that in. There we go. Get her lined up, make sure it's nice and centered. And now we're going to torque to 15 Newton meters. Reinstall the top triple clamp. Put the washer and the nut back on, and of course you're going to want to torque those to the factory specs. Now tighten the fork tubes. And then torque to factory specs. Install the boot, put the smaller hole down over the pivot dog, larger hole up. Now we're going to slide the ball pin into the pivot dog. This is a very tight fit, so it will compress air. You got to push it down and kind of hold it down sometimes to let the air bleed out. And then you might need to manipulate the bars like that to get it in there, and then try and center it up. You want to pitch the damper down. It should have an angle of at least 10 degrees down. And then we're going to go ahead and attach the handlebar mount to the back of the damper here, and then snug those up. But we want to be able to still slide and move the damper a little bit, so we don't want it super tight. So adjust the damper so it's centered between the handlebar clamps. You could use a scale or whatever you need to center that up, and then push the lever down to the top of the pivot dog and then back it up just a couple of millimeters. And now we're going to tighten up the handlebar clamps. Now pull the boot up onto the bottom of the lever so you get a nice hermetic seal. There you go. That's what that looks like. Now make sure you can hit your steering stops and that you're not using the damper as a stop. So it looks like we're doing okay here. Now if you can't hit one stop and you can't hit the other, you need to loosen the damper and slide it the direction that you couldn't hit the stop on. So if you're turned to the right and you couldn't hit the stop to the right, then move to the right. If it's the left, obviously, then slide it a little to the left. If you can't hit either stop, you need to pitch the damper down a little bit further. Now, turn the damper up to 9.5 and move your bars back and forth a little bit to help that mount seat in there. And then we're going to retorque that mount bolt. So let's set the damper back to a 5 so we can actually move the bars. Of course, the bars were super hard to move at a 9.5, but a lot easier to move at a 5. And, you know, that feels good. Now we're going to retorque to the same 15 Newton meters. Well, now the damper's installed. We just need to put the bike back together. So let's retighten those speedometer bolts. And then reinstall the headlight number plate. Be sure to watch your setting the high-speed damper and your oil change videos. I hope you found this informative.